Leon was the only child of his mother, Cassandra. She had raised him alone, through hardship and sacrifice. Life had not been easy for her, but she never gave up. Cassandra worked several jobs, cleaning houses, selling food at the market, and doing whatever she could just to make sure Leon had an education and a good life. Now, Leon was 35 years old and doing well. His business had grown into a successful company, and people admired him for his achievements. But Leon never forgot who made it all possible: his mother. Everything he had, he owed to Cassandra. She was his hero, his protector, and his best friend. For as long as he could remember, it had been the two of them against the world. Leon wanted to get married and start a family of his own. But he was afraid. He didn't want a wife who would treat his mother badly or make her feel unwanted. Cassandra was getting older, and Leon wanted someone who would not only accept her but love and care for her as he did. However, there was a problem. Many of the women who showed interest in Leon seemed fake. They acted sweet and kind, but Leon could sense they were more attracted to his wealth and status than to who he truly was. He feared marrying someone who would later mistreat his mother behind closed doors. One evening, he sat with Cassandra and shared his worries. She listened carefully, holding his hand with the same warmth she had shown him as a child. After some thought, she smiled and came up with an idea. "What if I pretend to be a maid in your house whenever you bring a woman over?" she suggested. "This way, we'll see how they treat someone they believe is poor and powerless." Leon was surprised at first, but then he nodded. It was a clever plan. It would show their true colors. A kind heart wouldn't change based on someone's appearance or status. So the plan was set. The next time Leon invited a woman over, Cassandra would dress in simple clothes and act as the maid, cleaning, serving food, and staying in the background. Her job was not to impress, but to observe and to be observed. Leon prepared himself for the unexpected, both the good and the bad. He knew the results might shock him, but he also knew it was the only way to find someone who truly deserved a place in their lives. Little did he know, this simple plan would soon reveal more than he ever imagined, and would lead him to the kind of love that honored not only him, but also the woman who had stood by him every step of the way. Angela was the first to be tested. She was stunning, elegant, refined, from a wealthy family. Leon had admired her for months, and after 2 solid months of dating, he decided to invite her over for the weekend. Cassandra, dressed in simple, faded clothes, played her role perfectly as the quiet, aging maid. When Angela arrived, Leon greeted her warmly and introduced her to Cassandra as his maid. "Someone I deeply respect," he added. "She's old now. Please don't overwork her." Angela smiled sweetly and nodded. "Of course," she said. "I understand." Everything seemed pleasant on the surface. A few hours later, Leon stepped out to buy groceries, leaving Angela alone with Cassandra. What followed was anything but sweet. Angela went looking for the maid and found her resting quietly in the spare room. Furious, she grabbed a bowl of water and splashed it on Cassandra. "You lazy old woman," she snapped. "He's out buying food for us, and you're here sleeping like a queen." Cassandra sat up, soaked, gasping. "You think your charms will work on him forever? You think your witchcraft scares me? As long as I'm here, you'll know your place." Angela dragged her by the arm toward the hallway. "If you're too old to work, pack your things and get out." The front door opened. Leon stepped in, arms full of grocery bags, and froze. Angela froze too. Cassandra stood trembling, wet, her arm in Angela's grip. Silence. Leon dropped the bags. His voice was sharp. "Leave." Angela blinked. "Wait, Leon. I said, get out of my house." Angela's expression twisted, but she didn't argue. She stormed out without another word. Leon walked over to Cassandra and gently helped her sit. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. Cassandra simply gave a knowing nod. She failed. Leon looked toward the door. His jaw clenched. One down. The real search had only begun. Weeks after Angela's cruel outburst, Leon met Sophie, a sweet, soft-spoken schoolteacher. She wasn't wealthy, but she carried herself with grace and humility. After 6 weeks of dating, Leon decided to bring her home. Cassandra, once again dressed in worn clothes, played the maid. "This is someone I trust like family," Leon said, introducing Cassandra. "She's old now, so please be kind to her." Sophie smiled and nodded. Of course, everything seemed perfect until Leon stepped outside, pretending to take a call. Alone, Sophie's tone changed. "You missed a spot in the kitchen," she said coldly. "And be careful, you almost spilled water on my purse." Cassandra apologized softly. Sophie followed her. "Leon's too generous. If it were me, you wouldn't be lounging around here." She shoved a sponge at her. "Clean properly. Don't make me complain." Moments later, the front door opened. Leon stepped in, face unreadable. "I heard everything." Sophie's smile vanished. "Leon, I didn't mean." "She's my mother," he said, "and you've shown me exactly who you are." "Wait, get out." She hesitated, then stormed off without another word. Leon sat beside Cassandra, quiet. "One more down," she murmured. Leon nodded, still waiting for the right one. Months later, Leon met Lillian by chance. She was pitching her fashion designs to his staff at the company's front desk. He overheard her speaking confidently about her brand, her fabrics, her dream. She wasn't from a wealthy family, but her hustle, energy, and ambition stood out. Impressed by her drive, Leon struck up a conversation. They connected easily, and soon they were seeing each other regularly. Lillian's charm wasn't in luxury. It was in her hunger to succeed and the fire in her eyes. When she talked about her future, 2 months later, Lillian asked if she could spend a few weeks, maybe even a month, at Leon's home. She said it would give them a better chance to really know each other. Leon agreed and informed his mother. As always, Cassandra pulled out her old faded clothes and prepared to play the quiet maid. When Lillian arrived, Leon welcomed her warmly and introduced Cassandra. "This is someone I trust very much. She's like family to me, but she works here as my maid." Lillian smiled sweetly. "Hi, it's lovely to meet you," she said politely, then followed Leon upstairs without another word. The days passed. Lillian never shouted. She didn't act rude or entitled. She didn't boss Cassandra around or complain. But she also didn't try to build any kind of connection. She treated Cassandra with detached politeness, like background furniture, never cruel, but never warm either. Leon noticed it and reasoned, maybe she just needs more time. Hoping she would ease into things, he asked her to extend her stay. But Cassandra's instincts were stirring. Something didn't sit right. Lillian was always on her phone, laughing, smiling, texting endlessly. Her eyes sparkled, not with interest in the home or in Leon's life, but with something else, something distant. Her affection toward Leon felt incomplete. Cassandra watched quietly. She didn't speak her thoughts, not yet, but a question echoed in her mind. If she's so in love, why does it feel like it's not with my son? She decided to wait, to watch, to be sure. As Lillian settled comfortably into Leon's home, Cassandra couldn't shake the unease prickling at the edge of her instincts. Something felt off about her, but she observed and said nothing. Not yet. Then, one afternoon, while Leon and Lillian were lounging together, he received an urgent business call. He apologized, grabbed his keys, and rushed out. Halfway to the office, he slowed as he approached a growing crowd on the side of the road. Curious, he pulled over and froze. A young woman lay unconscious on the pavement, bruised and blooded. Witnesses said a car had hit her and sped off. No ID, no phone, just a battered body and a head injury. Leon didn't hesitate. He gathered her in his arms, placed her gently in his car, and drove straight to the hospital. When she woke up hours later, her eyes were blank. "Do you remember your name?" Leon asked gently. She shook her head, her voice soft and shaken. "I don't." The doctor later confirmed what Leon already suspected. She was suffering from temporary amnesia. The blow to her head had robbed her of her identity. Leon sat in the hospital corridor for a long while, torn. He couldn't leave her here, Not alone, not with no name, no family. When he told Cassandra what happened, she didn't hesitate. "Bring her," she said. "We'll take care of her until she remembers." 2 weeks later, the woman was discharged. With no name to call her own, Leon had chosen one for her. Catherine. She had smiled at it. "It sounds kind," she said. When she arrived at the house, Leon quietly reminded Cassandra to continue playing her part. Lillian was still around and the test wasn't over, so he introduced Catherine to Cassandra as his maid to keep up the act. "This is Catherine," he told Lillian that evening. "She'd be staying with us until she recovers." Lillian offered a practiced smile. "Of course," she said coolly. "Cassandra, set up the guest room, please." Then she continued what she was doing, but Catherine lingered. She turned to Cassandra and said gently, "You don't have to do that. I can clean the room myself." "You're still healing?" Cassandra replied. "Let me." Catherine paused, then gave a soft, grateful smile. "All right, but I'll find something else to help with." And she meant it. In the days that followed, Catherine kept her promise. She was up early, sweeping the floor before anyone else stirred. She helped Cassandra with the dishes and folding laundry, humming softly as if the chores were second nature. And more than once she would sneak into the kitchen while Cassandra was cooking. "Come on," she'd whisper with a playful nudge. "Go sit down. You've done enough." "I'm not that old," Cassandra would tease. "But you're old enough to deserve some rest," Catherine replied, taking the wooden spoon from her hand with a grin. Cassandra found herself smiling more around Catherine. They laughed together, shared stories even though Catherine had no clear memory of her past. Her warmth made her feel like family. They would sit on the back porch, gossiping lightly, sipping tea, and watching the sky. Meanwhile, Lillian barely noticed them. She was often perched on the couch, glued to her phone, fingers typing endlessly, expression unreadable. Leon noticed the distance, but because she wasn't openly rude, he kept holding on to the hope that she'd come around. He watched Catherine and Cassandra laughing one morning and smiled. It warmed his heart to see his mum so happy. And Catherine, there was something about her he couldn't quite shake. But he was still with Lillian. He had made a commitment. So, when a business deal came up requiring him to leave town for a few days, Leon saw a perfect opportunity. That evening, he pulled Lillian aside. "I'll be gone for a few days. Please keep an eye on the house, all right?" Lillian nodded absently, not even looking up from her phone. "Sure." Later, he spoke to Cassandra in private. "Mum tried to create moments for you and Lillian to connect. Maybe if you give her the chance." She let her guard down. Cassandra nodded, though her faith in Lillian was growing thinner by the day. As Leon packed his bags and drove off the next morning, Catherine stood by the window, arms crossed lightly. Her eyes followed his car until it disappeared down the road. "You like him?" Cassandra said softly, appearing beside her. Catherine turned quickly, a blush rising. "No, I mean, yes, but I know he's taken, and he'd never look at me like that." "Look at her, then look at me." She gave a soft laugh. "Besides, I still don't even know who I am." Cassandra didn't say much, just smiled and touched her hand gently. It was easy for her to perceive Catherine's subtle affection for Leon, and it sparked a quiet curiosity. Why didn't Leon and Lillian share the same spark? The question lingered, and Cassandra's intuition whispered that something wasn't quite right, and she was determined to find out. When Leon left, Cassandra attempted to spark conversation with Lillian, hoping they might bond as her son had suggested. However, Lillian dismissed her efforts, citing busyness and a lack of time for small talk. Cassandra didn't press the issue, instead retreating to her room, her intuition about Lillian's character growing stronger by the minute. That night, when Cassandra retired to bed, Catherine joined her as usual. They talked, giggled, and shared secrets like old friends. Catherine confessed again. "He's kind, gentle, makes me feel safe." But, Cassandra prompted, "But he's with her, and I'm nobody right now." She shrugged. "I don't even know my name." Cassandra smiled knowingly. "We'll see, in time." They drifted off in peaceful sleep, but hours later, A faint sound stirred Cassandra awake. Footsteps. She sat up quietly, her instincts prickling. Carefully, she slipped out of bed and peered through the window that overlooked the living room. And what she saw made her breath hitch. There, in Leon's living room, stood Lillian, arms wrapped tightly around a man Cassandra had never seen before. A stranger. They kissed passionately, too passionately for a casual goodbye. Cassandra's eyes narrowed as she picked up her phone. Quietly, discreetly, she snapped photos. Then, with trembling fingers, she hit record as the conversation began. "I can't wait to leave," Lillian murmured, running her fingers through the man's hair. "Just a little longer. I'm trying to gather all the money I can from Leon. Once we're out of here, we'll live like royalty." The man laughed low. "And he doesn't suspect a thing." "Please," Lillian scoffed. "He's so busy trying to play Prince Charming. He has no clue." They kissed again. Cassandra's heart pounded, but her hands were steady. She filmed every word, every whisper. Then Lillian paused, glanced around, and quietly tiptoed into Leon's bedroom, the man close behind her. Cassandra stood frozen for a moment. Then she climbed back into bed beside Catherine, who was still fast asleep. She quietly sent the video to her son with a short message. "I'm sorry, son. I didn't want it to be this way, but you need to see this." And then closed her eyes pretending nothing had happened. But inside, her heart broke for her son. Leon's world shattered with a single video. Lillian, tangled with another man, mocking him like a fool. He couldn't call his mother, afraid Lillian might sense something and react. So, he booked the next flight home, heart in pieces. Very early in the morning at about 4 p.m. he arrived. Cassandra let him in. No words, just silence. Together, they walked to his room. There she was, Lillian, with the man from the video. "Leon, please. I saw everything," his voice called. He told them to leave. No shouting, just heartbreak. When the door shut, he collapsed in his mother's arms, sobbing. Catherine noticed the silence. No Lillian, no laughter. She cracked a joke, but Cassandra said it plainly. She cheated on Leon. Catherine turned to Leon, trying to cheer him up, but he ignored her and walked away. Later, he knocked on her door. Just one word, "Sorry," and something shifted. They grew close in quiet moments, shared meals, soft glances. Catherine opened up about dreams without roots. He listened. Cassandra knew. She saw it. They laughed together sometimes. Her heart was full. Then came the stormy night. Candlelight, a shared blanket. "I feel safe here," Catherine whispered. "You are?" Leon said. Their first kiss felt like magic. One morning with Cassandra, he told her the truth. "She's not a maid. She's my mother. We were testing the women I dated." Catherine froze, then ran into Cassandra's arms. "I already loved you," she said. "Now I love you more." Not long after, her memory returned. Her real name, Delphine Drake, an orphan. Forgotten, but no longer alone. Leon and Cassandra assured her, "Your family now." Then came the proposal. "Marry me." Tears, laughter, 1,000 yeses. Their wedding wasn't just about love, it was about truth, healing, and second chances. Cassandra with teary eyes watched with pride as two hearts wounded but ready became one. And so began a forever built on truth, a home built on healing, a love that finally felt real. The end. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories.